hand out from the wall and just starts choking Randy Orton like in a horror movie. There's a room where there's these baby dolls just hanging around. A wooden figure set. Randy Orton got squished by a refrigerator. This was honestly starting off as a great matchup. I really enjoyed it. I thought that it was different. I said they needed to go full out. And for WWE, it's pretty cheap. I mean, all you had to do is like rent a house, get a couple props, and that's about it, really. And they definitely pulled it off. I think they did a great job with the beginning of this House of Horrors matchup after Randy Orton got squished by the refrigerator, supposedly. Bray Wyatt went to the limo and says, "Limo driver, take me to the arena," while saying, "He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world." You know, just singing that all the way there. And do we continue on with that matchup? Unfortunately, no, we do not. And holy crap, that was a very short Raw talk. That's sad. That is very sad, to say the least. So we move on into the matchup between Samoa Joe and Seth Rollins, which I will say this is actually kind of surprising me that they brought this statistic up, is that this is only the second time that they actually had a matchup. So this is probably including all their times that they've been on the independent scene, as well as Ring of Honor, working together. Just, wow. I was honestly not expecting that to even be a factor, but you know something? That made this matchup even more special. Samoa Joe was working on the legs so much during this matchup. It was intense. It was incredible. It was just insane just to see that. Definitely showing Samoa Joe is a ruthless, aggressive monster, and that he can pick apart anybody as a great submission specialist. And he really is a great technician. For those of you who have not seen Samoa Joe's work, he really is very good. For a big guy, he just knows how to just create great chemistry, great moments, and he just knows how to give you some memorable matches. And I'm looking forward to seeing what else they have for Samoa Joe. But continuing on, the matchup itself, again, Seth Rollins definitely sold the hell out of the fact that he was injured by this guy, Samoa Joe. And it just was a tremendous matchup. The ending came about with Samoa Joe locking in the Coquina Clutch on 2 occasions. And Seth Rollins was able to find a way to roll up Samoa Joe not once but twice. At the second time around, Samoa Joe shoulders were down. Apparently, some people were saying that his shoulder was up. But in the end, it didn't matter because Seth Rollins got the victory. So they're definitely going to continue on this rivalry between Samoa Joe and Seth Rollins. I am totally okay with that because these guys have great chemistry in the ring, and the fact of the matter that they only faced each other like twice, that just tells you that they're going to have better matches as time goes on. I think that this was just a matchup that they needed to kind of just work on just a little bit more, but at the same time, this was still a good matchup. It's basically a warm-up matchup for the matches that are indeed yet to come. I'm looking forward to seeing how this goes. We continue on, of course, the House of Horrors matchup in which Bray Wyatt came in. He thought, I'm going to get the forfeit win because apparently it was a no-hold-barred situation where it will start at the House of Horrors and then end up in the arena. And the only way you can win is by pinfall, submission, or via a forfeit. So Bray Wyatt thought that he was going to get the forfeit win. As soon as he blows out the lantern, Randy Orton just appears out of nowhere. And they continue on the matchup. Randy Orton hits the RKO, but then we see the Singh brothers come in, beat down on Randy Orton, but Orton threw them away. And then out of nowhere, boom, here comes Jinder Mahal, hitting Randy Orton in the back with the championship belt not once but twice. And Bray Wyatt hit the Sister Abigail for the 1-2-3. In the House of Horrors matchup, Bray Wyatt is victorious. So they're definitely doing a great job of building up not only they're mainly building up the Backlash title match between Jinder Mahal and Randy Orton. Great way to do that, in all honesty. Does it take away from this matchup? Well, yeah, it kind of does. But at the same time, Bray Wyatt got a win, so it's one of those things where it's like, I do not care. So Bray Wyatt comes out victorious and will be undefeated in the House of Horrors matchup. Because reasons. Because he's Bray Wyatt. He deserves a victory. And then we move on to the final matchup, the main event, being Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman. Definitely Braun Strowman came out strong. Roman Reigns looked just massively like he looked like a broken man, honestly. He came out still having his arm bandaged up, and he was still selling the fact that he had a separated shoulder. And I want to say for a fact that Roman Reigns sells an injury better than John Cena does, in all honesty. And there's a few good examples of that. Roman Reigns got not that much in the way of offense. He had probably 2-3 Superman punches. He hit a spear on Braun. The interesting thing about this was that a lot of people would say, like, oh, he hit him with his headed shoulder. No, he didn't. He hit him with his good shoulder, which I thought, okay. Again, he's covering the fact that, yes, that he is hurt. So it's one of those things where I look at it, it's like he's playing off this injury very well. So in all honesty, I was totally okay with that. Braun, unfortunately, kicked out of the spear after 2. And Roman Reigns tried to go for another spear, but Braun Strowman basically lifted him up, caught him with that triangle bear hug choke that he does. It's been a long time since we've seen that, so I thought to myself, oh wow, that's crazy to see that, because you never really see Braun Strowman break that out, I guess, unless it's a huge match situation or just because reasons. So after that, Braun hits a power slam for a 1-2. Roman barely gets his shoulder up. And then we see Braun hit another massive power slam for the 1-2-3. Braun Strowman picks up the victory. After the matchup, Braun Strowman brings some steel steps into the ring, stands them up on their side, and hits a snake eyes to Roman Reigns, which you can definitely see had a lot of impact because the steps got bent. And then after that, Braun Strowman took the steps and just crushed Roman Reigns' ribs. Legitly, I was petrified. I was actually really scared because it was one of those moments that you're not used to seeing, and Braun Strowman is just a massive human being. So it definitely was one of those frightening moments, but it got even more graphic when you saw Roman Reigns spewing out blood from his mouth. So obviously they were playing off the fact that he's now going to have internal injuries. Roman Reigns was basically walking to the back. He got a little bit of help. They brought out the stretcher, and Roman says, I'm not going on a stretcher. I'm not going on a stretcher. I was a little bit peeved about that, but a little later on, during the Raw talk show, they showed Roman Reigns just crawling and just limping to the back. Saw a little bit of the blood get on the walls, and he basically walks to the ambulance by himself. So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, I hate the fact that he skipped down the stretcher, but he did go to the ambulance. So at least there was that. But then Braun Strowman on Raw Talk was just screaming, I'm not done with her yet. Tried to do the same thing. Blasts the ambulance door. Roman Reigns got out of the way just in time and then ran into some boxes. He tries to attack Roman Reigns, but Roman Reigns fights back, slams the door on Braun multiple times. Braun just runs away, and then Roman's still right by the ambulance. And honestly, you guys, this is one of those ways that it definitely was a great way to end a pay-per-view. This was really good. So, in all honesty, you guys, this was a great event. The Payback show, top to bottom, had very lackluster build-up, but in all honesty, they pulled it off. They did a great job with the show. I think that everything, when all said and done, this is going to be one of the better paybacks that a lot of people will remember in the future. I actually did a poll in which I asked people, how would you rate Payback, thumbs up or thumbs down? And unfortunately, a lot of people said thumbs down. 66% of them did, as 34% said thumbs up out of 38 votes. So thank you guys so much for your votes. I definitely appreciate them. For my final rating, I would definitely give Payback a 4-star rating. I think, in all honesty, you look at the pros and weigh them with the cons, I think some of the cons were just the fact that, the House of Horrors matchup was good. It was just that little break there that definitely kind of made it very hard to make it believable. The main event was a major pro. They definitely found a great way to make Braun Strowman not only look strong, but give him a great push. I'm trying to think of another con that was in there. It's really hard to kind of weigh some of the cons because some of the matches were just really good. I can't think of like any major botches that were there. It was just all in all good show, in all honesty. It's not quite a perfect show, but it's one of those shows that definitely was really good. Comparing it to WrestleMania still has a very high top-tier rating, but Payback was a great show to follow up WrestleMania, in all honesty. So we move on from that to the predictions. I know a lot of people have been waiting for this, one person in particular. Another comment saying like Joe's right shoulder was up. It's really dumb that they really find a way to not include that. But you know what? It is what it is. What are you going to do? All right, so now we can move on to the prediction deal. Of course, you guys, the Elite Ringside Network X Division title, as well as the Elite Ringside Network Heavyweight Championship, were both on the line. And I myself am going to be appointing myself as the member of the founder of the championship committee because these are my belts. So I get to decide things when it comes to championship matches as well as stipulations and blah, blah, blah. So, and because I think everybody else is just like, whatever. So anyway, so let's start off with the Elite Ringside Network X Division title. For a little while, it definitely did seem like AJ was going to pick up the victory. After Rollins picked up the victory, actually, AJ had the lead. He did very, very good. He was at 7 points, and there is a weird little point system in which we have 1 point for regular match predictions correct, 3 points for a championship matchup correct. But however, with the fact that Austin Aries won the match but did not win the title, I did put into play that it was by disqualification, so it went from a 3 to a 2 point victory for anybody that guessed Austin Aries. So from there, like I said, regular matches are worth 1 point, championship matches are worth 3, especially if they won the title. If they didn't win the title, I'm going to consider that more a 2-pointer. And the main event is a 5-point match, is a 5-point deal. So, that being said, AJ's final score for the X title matchup was a 7. Came very close, but unfortunately fell short. Max Speedy came out with 10 points. So, still your Elite Ringside Network X champion, Max Speedy. Congratulations, buddy. Looking forward to seeing when you cash in. Now we move on to the main event, that being the Elite Ringside Network Heavyweight title. Mr. Chris Lockman, he had a pretty good role to start. But there were a lot of factors that definitely kind of hurt him a bit. Some of the championship changes and matches didn't help him out at all. The final tally for here was Chris Lockman with 4 points. Spencer Hart, the challenger, with 13 points. So therefore, I'm here to announce that indeed we have a new Elite Ringside Network Heavyweight Champion in Spencer Hart. And for those of you that care, I'm sure a lot of people would be interested in knowing, I actually did keep my points a little bit off to the side, and I actually got to see how many points I received as well. And no, you do not get to make a speech, Mr. Spencer Hart. I know that you're the one that's talking, so shut the hell up. All right? We know you won. Jeez, I'm getting to the point where he all throughout this night he kept saying and new and blah blah blah, and he just kept bragging and bragging and bragging, and there just comes a point where you get so much bragging that it's just like, I will literally hurt you if you keep this up. But anyway, so moving on to, like I said, my predictions, I was very close, but I received about 12 points as the final deal. So if I was involved, I'd be very close, but I was not. I did take myself out of the deal, but with that being said,